you can create an elixir. Ta-da! So this is an elixir of my blood, my menstrual blood. This is what's called in English a vial. It's that kind that you squeeze, yeah, and then you get drops, yeah. You can see that, I think, yes. Okay, so this is an elixir, and with menstrual blood. So the recipe, if you're using menstrual blood, is half alcohol. So the alcohol should be some kind of strong 40 proof, like brandy or cognac, vodka, rum. I'm not a big drinker, so I'm gonna stop my examples there, because basically the only thing I drink is wine. But yeah, so some hard alcohol, 50% of the bottle, or 1-to-1 ratio. And the other 50%, your menstrual blood. So straight from the cup, boom, like that, measure half and half. What's the expiration date? Not probably indefinitely, but a long time, and out of the fridge. It doesn't, and mine is on my altar, it's not in the fridge, it's the alcohol that sustains it. So as long as it's a half-half, then this will remain usable. Now, what's the advantage of having a vial, having an elixir? Well, you can travel with it, right? So if you're just walking around with this, or you put it in some other container and seal it, and yeah, so if it's just fresh, it will start to rot soon enough, a day, 2, depends on the temperature. But if it's in an elixir form, 50-50 with alcohol, then you can use it whenever you need it or want it, and you can travel with it. So for example, even if I have just check-in, in those good old days when I used to fly, right? Or even if I didn't have a check-in luggage and I just had carry-on, carry-on, not check-in, this passes because it's 20 ml, and you can find 15 ml, and you can find 10 ml, you can find smaller vials even. So it totally passes through as liquids, not a problem. Yes, we'll get to what we use it for, but first I want to explain about why you would want to have one, is so that you can travel with it and you can have access to it whenever you want. Now, what if you don't bleed anymore, or you're in a man's body and you want to connect with this cyclical way and with nature and things like that? Okay, so you make an elixir without menstrual blood. Simple. Again, we go back to blood of the earth, blood of my womb, or blood of my womb, blood of the earth. So what are some examples of earth's bounty, right? And so you can get really creative and use all kinds of herbs. You can use berries, wine, red wine. You can, of course, it still will need some alcohol, because if you're using natural things, then they will also start to rot. But you don't need as hard of an alcohol if it's not blood. But yeah, wine and some hard alcohol you can use, and berries and herbs, and you can take stones or crystals and grind them and use their powder, or even pieces, bark, sap. Right now, springtime birch. In the northern countries, there's the sap of the birch, or other saps, the blood from trees. It's called sap. I don't know if you don't know the word in English. So it's the sticky stuff that comes out of trees. So sap, you can use all kinds of things you can use to create an elixir. And get creative, get imaginative, and vibrate with this is of the earth. And then if you want to add a piece of you, you can just prick your finger with a needle, a little prick, and squeeze a few drops of your own finger blood into your vial. And that has then the mix between you and earth. And then you can use it in ritual, just as if it was menstrual blood. And of course, it is different, but it doesn't mean you can't engage in those kinds of rituals. Okay, so that's a vial with, that's the elixir without blood and the elixir with blood. Now, what do you do with it, right? So that was a question that came in. Thank you for your patience. What do you do with it? So many things. Okay, here we go. So, offering drops of this blood or this elixir is in places of power. Now, what does places of power mean? It means places that are significant to you. Maybe you grew up there, or maybe it's a place that you feel at home, or it feels like your oasis or your secret, safe, happy place, or whatever. Places of power to you that are significant to you, or places of power because people have gone there and worshipped there, or things have happened there, and which is generally agreed to and known. And so you go there and you make your offering. And so this is where we get more ritualistic. And those in men's bodies, you can of course join along in such offerings and do it for yourself, even if there's nobody in a woman's body who's there with you, to reclaim that ability to connect. Now, the resonance of our menstrual blood is incredibly powerful. So this is something that we need to keep in mind, that it is a form of connecting. So a way of connecting to land, to a place, to an energy, to a person. So you want to offer where you want to have a connection with. So maybe it's an offering like a thank you. Maybe it's an offering saying, call me back. I want to come back. And I don't know if that's possible or when or whatever, but call me back. And it may not even be in this life. Call me back. Or it may be a offering of not just gratitude, but of making amends, or this, like, I'm giving an offering because I know that I'm letting go of something, or that I'm making some wrongs right from a past life, or whatever. Okay, so you can use it in places of power, offering. I'll give a couple of examples which are very powerful, which are true to me, my experiences, and I'm sure others have their experiences. When I was first courting with my now husband, Timo, who is the reason why I live in Finland, I was traveling a lot. I had no intentions of being with somebody, and so I had a full schedule of places to be, which did not include Finland. And so we were saying goodbye, and I just looked at him and I was like, hold on. And I had started bleeding, and I ran to the bathroom and I wiped with a tissue paper. I didn't have a spare vial to offer, and I wasn't going to give mine. So I wiped my yoni, my bleeding yoni, with a tissue paper, and I came back and I gave him the tissue paper and I said, bury this on your land, and it will call me. I know it 100%. I'm 100% sure of that. It will call me. Do it. And he just looked at me like, okay. And he did, and he sent me a picture of the tree where he buried it. Now, I'm not suggesting you all put tissue paper into the earth, but it was the spontaneous moment of, I know my blood will call me. I know the potency of my blood. And if I know that and resonate with that, wherever it is, I can attune and align and be called there, physically or energetically. So that's one example. We're married now, and I live in Finland. So I'm not saying that will happen to you every time, but it is a powerful example. Another example is last December, we were in Egypt. A group of us was in Egypt, and we were at the Isis temple. And all of a sudden, very unexpectedly, I had a very strong past life experience of wrongs that needed to be made right at the temple. And I had my vial with me, place of power. Of course, I'm carrying my vial with me. And I offered a drop there at the temple as my offering of the most sacred anything that I could possibly have of making amends for whatever I have done in the past. So that was another very powerful example of how you can offer. And again, this doesn't require you needing to squat or getting out a whole, you just, and that's it. And nobody has to know, nobody has to notice. And where do you offer it? Wherever you want. Let it touch the earth, maybe under a rock or some little crevice. You can also offer into water. And the flowing of waters and rivers. So these kinds of places of power, because they're important to you, or because people go there and make them places of power, and so they have a certain resonance.